$2,000 fourth stimulus check update, specifically focused on Social Security, including retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, VA, RRB, low income, no income, seniors, older adults, and of course, people with disabilities. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now this continues to be a very common question that I get down below in the comment section literally every single day, wondering about the latest updates as far as where we currently stand on a fourth stimulus check. Is there another check? Has something been approved? When are we going to get it? Who's going to get it? How much is it going to be? And all of these details like this. So that's what I want to focus on here in this video, as requested by so many people here in the community. Therefore, let's get into it and talk about what's currently going on and what I'm watching very closely right now, as things are really weird so far this year. Let's get right into it. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so. And because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you, right by your side every single day, as I truly want to help you out as much as I can by watching all this information as it's hitting the wire, doing the research and breaking it all down into these short videos. Things are changing very rapidly right now. If you've been watching the videos for any length of time now, you know that weird stuff is hitting every single day. I'm bringing it to you in these short updates to help you out as much as I possibly can. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, so you don't miss any videos going forward. And also remember, I'm here for you in any way that I can be, as I truly do want to help you out. That's my commitment, that's my dedication, and as always, that is my promise to you and everybody right here in the community. All right, thanks again. Let's get into it and talk about all of the questions that I continuously see down below in the comment section in regards to more checks, more money, a fourth stimulus check, whatever we want to call it these days. Is something actually arriving, and where do we currently stand on all this? All right, now before we get into this, I want to make it very clear so that we're all on the same page here, and so that there's no misleading information, which is, as of right now, a fourth stimulus check has not been approved yet. However, let's talk through the details here, because like I said a minute ago, this is a super weird time right now. In fact, if you've been watching the videos here on the channel for any length of time, and seriously, you don't even need to watch for very long, because here's the thing. You've probably been seeing some of these weird updates lately, right? In fact, you've been hearing me talk about all these different reports coming out, the inflation reports, all of this information coming out of the Federal Reserve, interest rates. We've been seeing all of these huge companies out there laying off thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people at one time alone, right? Like a single company would come out and say, well, we're slashing 10,000 jobs today. Well, we're slashing 6,000 jobs today. We're not talking like 3 people. We're talking thousands of people at one time just from one company. And we're seeing this across the board from a lot of different companies right now, okay? So this is something we got to focus on very closely. Now, you might be wondering, why do we care, and what does this have to do with a fourth stimulus check? It all comes down to the unemployment rate. So now, here's the thing. If I were to categorize all of the different pieces of economic data that I'm watching very closely right now and say, you know, where does all of this land as far as, you know, pointing toward additional stimulus and all kinds of things like this, I would rank the unemployment rate and what is going on with the job market very high on that list as far as what they're watching as far as economic health, what's going on with the economy, and the need for more stimulus, okay? So this is what happens during economic cycles, okay? We have the economic cycles where things are really good. The economy is hot. In fact, it gets a little bit too steamy, and then it needs to come down a little bit. We also have times during very strong economic contractions where we see a recession, right? Or even worse than that, right? Just like we saw back in the years of 2000, 2008, when the housing market, you know, busted up, things like that. When we saw in early 2020, when COVID closed everything down, these are times when we've seen major economic contractions, right? Well, when this happens, what happens during economic contractions? This is what happens every time. They come in and they stimulate. Depends on the year, but way back from 2000, 2008, 2020, they come in and they pass these multi-billion-dollar packages. In fact, they're usually hundreds upon hundreds of billions of dollars. And as of recently, we've seen trillions of dollars at a time in these packages that are being passed. Now, you might be wondering yet again, okay, I'm confused. And why do we care about this? What does this have to do with stimulus checks? What it has to do with is the economic health, okay? We need to watch the health of the economy, because when it comes down to it, if the economy is contracting, what do? I've said this before, and I want to say it again really quickly. They use the American people as a proxy to get money in other words, stimulus into the economy very, very quickly. The way that they do that is they look at the economy and they think, wow, the economy's doing really bad right now. Things are bad. Companies, medium, large, small, any size companies out there laying off people left and right. The unemployment rate is going up very rapidly. A lot of people are unemployed right now. What do? They pass all of these huge packages. They print up a bunch of money, hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars, and then they push it out to stimulate the economy. Now, what does this do? Well, it stimulates. It's like drinking an energy drink, right? You're good, you're kind of tired and whatever, and then you drink an energy drink and you're bouncing off the walls, right? It's just like the economy, right? The economy's kind of laying around, it's all kind of tired and worn out, things like that, and then they give it a couple energy drinks and the thing pops up again. Energy drinks in this scenario that I'm laying out here is like the same as stimulus, right? They're stimulating with money, and basically what they do is they push all that out to regenerate some of this, economic activity, right? Because what they want to do is they want these companies to start getting more business. They want companies to start reordering. They want businesses to build more inventory and start manufacturing more and hire more people, right? So how do they do that? Well, a business can start hiring more people if they have more orders, if they have more sales, if they have more revenue and more profits. They can start saying, oh, our business is growing again. We're not contracting as much. Therefore, let's hire some people. So basically what they do in this scenario is they basically stimulate. They print up a whole bunch of money and they push it out to the people. They do this in every economic recession or economic contraction is they print up money and they send it out to the people in the form of stimulus checks. Just like what we've seen over the last, call it 22, 23 years or so, with all of these economic contractions and recessions, we continue to see this happen because they know it's a fast way to get a lot of money into the economy really, really quickly. They give it to us and they say, here, everybody, why don't you take this money? Do what you want with it. When really they're saying, please, go spend the money. Buy whatever you want. We don't really care. Just go buy something. That's basically all that they do. And they know that the vast majority of people are going to go spend all the money, and in some cases, all the money plus some. Okay, well, what does that mean? A lot of money flowing into the economy very, very quickly, okay? So that's the whole point behind stimulus checks. So, long story short here, what am I watching closely? I'm watching the job market very, very closely. Now, I've also said this before, and I want to mention this one more time, which is, we hear all this talk out there about, oh, inflation needs to come down. You're right, inflation does need to come down, but guess what? Right now, they're worried about inflation because they've got nothing else to do. Here's the thing, when this economy really gets whacked around and when this economy starts, kind of contracting even harder than it already is, and we start to see even more people losing their jobs, the unemployment rate going even higher, and things really contracting even more aggressively than they are, we're not going to hear anything about inflation anymore. That's going to be an old story. And at that time, inflation might come down to say, I don't know, 5%. 4.5%, maybe. And at that time, if the economy is really contracting as aggressively as everybody is anticipating it to be, inflation will be an old story. We won't even hear a word about it anymore because they won't care. That will not be their top priority anymore because the economy will be, contracting so much, the jobs will be lost and things like that. They need to bring all that back, right? It'll be very important to bring that back. Even though we continue to hear from everybody that, oh, we got to bring this inflation down to 2%. Good luck. Yeah, I'm going to say that right now. Good luck. The only way they're going to get it down to 2% is with a very high unemployment rate. There's no way they're going to allow it to get up to that high. In fact, I've seen figures coming out suggesting the way that we could get this inflation down to 2 to 2.5%, which is what the Federal Reserve wants it to be at, we would need to see about a 7+% unemployment rate. Not a chance. It's not getting there. They're not going to allow it to get to that high, right? That's a very high unemployment rate. There's no way that they want to see it that high. If it gets anywhere close to that, they're going to start stimulating immediately, okay? And by stimulating immediately, I'm talking printing a lot of money, okay? So, long story short, when it comes down to it, I know I'm kind of giving you a little bit of an economic lesson here, but at the end of the day, we got to watch this stuff because this is what it comes down to. I know it would be nice if many of us could just write a letter or make a phone call or make videos like this and say, hey, Congress, please send us a check. Send us a $2,000 check. It'd be nice if it was that easy, but it's not that easy. What it really comes down to is they don't really care what we say. I'm going to be real with you right now. They couldn't care less how much we're struggling. They couldn't care less how much we beg and ask them for a check. That's not what they're making decisions on. They're making decisions on the economy and the economic activity. That is what makes the decisions, okay? So unfortunately, it's not us. So when it comes down to it, this is what they're watching closely, and that's what we got to watch closely too as well, because this is going to be the kind of the leading indicators, and or this is going to be the information that is going to indicate, will more stimulus actually be approved? Well, if we do actually have this major recession and the major economic contraction and this major, stock market crash that everybody's suggesting this year, well, if that's going to happen, then you better bet that there will be more stimulus, okay? Now, will it actually be a $2,000 check? I don't know. I have no clue on that. However, I've had a lot of comments asking mostly about a $1,400 check and a $2,000 check. In fact, recently I saw some comments coming out saying, wait, what about that $2,000 stimulus check petition? Is that still out there? It is out there. I'm going to be real with you right now. I have not looked at that thing in probably 3 months, maybe more than that. I haven't looked at it in a very long time. Why? Because it doesn't really matter, okay? There's a petition. In fact, there's a couple different petitions that are out there right now to encourage Congress and to gather signatures and things like that. And yes, the last time I looked at the big one anyway, yes, it was still getting a few signatures here and there. But for the most part, again, a petition that has a couple million signatures on it sounds great. But at the end of the day, it's not going to have any impact on Congress to make a decision to do something like this. So it's a nice gesture. It's a really nice thing. Don't get me wrong. But this will not be the deciding factor if Congress actually approves something or not. Does that kind of make sense? So that's just me being real with you. That's me being transparent about the whole petition type of thing. It's a good gesture. It's nice. It's great that it's out there, but it's not going to have any influence whatsoever. Now, here's the thing. If it did, then why didn't they do, ongoing checks or $2,000 checks or something like that, a year ago or a year and a half or 2 years ago when they really, really, were probably needed just as much as today. You know what I mean? My point is, that's kind of what it's coming down to. So anyway, long story short, what I'm watching very closely right now is the action out of the Federal Reserve, as in their commentary, as in what are they saying, the verbiage coming out of them, the Federal Reserve. I'll watch that stuff very closely. I'm also watching inflation. Even though I just said, wait, who cares about inflation? You're right. We got to still watch it until they find a better, bigger issue to talk about. Until then, we're still talking about this inflation thing. But it's going to be, it's going to be one of these conversations that we won't even be having anymore at some point when things really get a lot worse, okay? So that's what the whole inflation thing is about. But until then, I will continue watching it, and they'll continue talking about it, pretending like they care so much. They don't care. Anyway, so that is what I'm watching closely. Next, I'm watching the job market very closely as well, because this is a very, very important one for all the reasons that I just explained. So we will see what actually happens here, but these are all the details that we got to watch here. Now, something else I want to point out really quickly. The stock market. Again, I know some of you here in the community don't necessarily watch the stock market, but this is a good one, because here's the thing. I'll give you a little tip here. The stock market is generally a leading indicator of the economy. If the stock market has fallen off a cliff, guess what happens to the economy? Pretty much does the same thing a few months later. It's not that far behind. It's usually a couple months delayed. And when you watch the stock market, and again, it's not the little, volatility on a daily basis of the stock market going up and down and bouncing all around. It's the macro trends of the stock market. So if we see a longer term, move in the stock market going either direction, well, that's kind of an indication as to what's coming, right? So anyway, again, I'm watching all this stuff closely. I'm doing my best to break it down into these short videos to give you a synopsis of what's actually happening and what it all breaks down to as far as money, programs, checks, stimulus, raises to benefits, fixed income benefits, anything else like that. Of course, I'm watching it all closely. And of course, we've still got Congress, and they're doing all kinds of stuff, or whatever we want to call it, right? Label it whatever you see fit for the information coming out of Congress, right? We can all have our own little definitions, but that's just something we can watch as well, right? So anyway, when it comes down to it, I hope this helps to give you a better explanation as far as checks, things like this, but I'm going to throw this last little piece of information out there, and I'm going to wrap this up. If you are in the boat, if you're in the camp of wanting another stimulus check, you probably want to cross your fingers for a big old economic crash. Now, you might be thinking, but wait, isn't that going to impact everybody? It will, but here's the thing. Think of it this way. You hear all these people talking about a recession, right? A recession, everybody thinks, oh, a recession's so bad. Is a recession really that bad? I like to look at a recession as a reset. Not a recession, but rather a reset. It resets a lot of stuff really quickly, and it's not a bad thing. I can tell you that much, okay? Recessions are actually a good thing in a lot of ways. And again, if you're looking for a check here, you could probably cross your fingers and hope for a big ol' reset. Because when you push that reset button, guess what happens? You get to start over fresh, right? So it's not a bad thing in a lot of instances. Now, don't get me wrong. It can be bad for some people in some instances, but there's also a ton of opportunity, and there's a lot of things that get fixed as a result of a major recession, like inflation would likely come down. And a lot of other things would likely get done as well, because Congress, they scramble to get stuff done. And at the same time, like I said, for the reasons that I said earlier, which is checks and all kinds of things like this. So anyway, hope this gives you a better perspective on what's really going on right now. Again, I'm watching all this stuff closely every single day. As I get more details on anything out there, of course, I'll bring it to your attention right away. So again, please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands upon thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day. Hope this answers your questions and help you out. I'm here for you in any way that I can be. Like I said, all I want to do is help you out. I just want to keep you informed with everything going on. It's a weird time right now, and it's only going to get weirder, if that's even a word. I don't even know. It's going to get more weird. That's all I know, right? Anyway, enjoy, have a good one, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.